Hey, what's good? Game on, Wisconsin. Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast Packers. We are in phase one of the off-season program. Organized team activities will start May 20th. Mandatory minicamp is sometime in June. We'll get those dates on rookie minicamp, but we'll be picking those rookies in less than 2 weeks. I'm Bernie Bango, here with championship caliber girl dad, Umar Desai. How are you doing tonight, Umar?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I don't think I can be an introduction like that. How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. I spent the day just hanging out with the family. So
Cool, man.
I love those family days, man. I got my 8-month-old son. We went to
Mhm.
a playground and we put him in like one of the baby swings for the first time ever, man. And
Okay.
he loved it, man. He loved it.
Heck
He's all
yeah.
smiles and giggles. So that fatherhood's new to me too. So this is my first one. So it's like I'm seeing the world in a whole new way. So life is good, Honor.
That's good, man. That's good. I was gonna say, man, like that first one, it's trial by error. I'll tell you that right now. Everybody got advice, everyone got things they want to say, but at the end of the day, everyone's experience is different, right? And what
Yeah.
you may do, what they may do for their kid, you may not have to do for your kid or vice versa. So who knows, right? But it's an experience, man. I'm happy that you're getting to enjoy it and just soak it in. I'm gonna tell you, bro. It I didn't believe it at the time when it was occurring, when people would tell me, hey man, like it goes by fast and blah blah blah. But man, it does go by really quick. I mean, mine is like 8 now and 5, and she's going on 6 this year. So they are growing up before my eyes, and they just take it to a whole nother level. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's something. But you know what though?
Yeah.
It's funny what you said though. The draft is less than 2 weeks away, and I am
Dude.
hyped, man. I felt like we weren't gonna get here, and man, here we are.
It's wild, man. It's it's getting really real. And like
Yeah.
there's guys coming to visit, in Green Bay and sit down and talk with the wait, Bernie doesn't burn in sunlight? No, I don't. I sparkle. I sparkle.
Hit him with that Twilight.
Yeah. But no,
Right.
so visits, right? We got visits. We got guys coming and checking out Green Bay, talking to the guys in the front office, talking to the coaching staff. Um, how you feeling about these visits? Is there some visits that surprise you? Visits that make you excited, or um,
One of the things that like Dane Boogler had pointed out, he's a real big guy when it comes to like the draft community. He has a thing called the Beast that he puts out every year, kind of like outlining all the greatest players that are out when it comes to like their physical and attributes and their their workouts and just the things they've been working on the offseason, and then of course combine and pro day results. And he mentioned that out of the top 30 visits so far that Green Bay has had, 22 of them have been offensive linemen. So, with that being said, I do really feel like if everything that was said about Zach Tom possibly moving to center because of the fact that he could be a Hall of Fame center in comparison to a Pro Bowl right tackle, first off,
yeah,
sign me up. You guys know I have been on the Myers bench train for a very long time. And so I'm all for that. So I'm looking at these visits and you see a lot of offensive linemen. We need to supplement that side of the field anyways. We lost a lot of good guys. We still need to get rid of Royce Newman. I don't want him anywhere near my team. I don't want him anywhere playing. He's like my Jake Hansen now, right? So seeing that, and then of course, there was something that a couple guys brought up was the guy that just came today, I believe. His name's Marshawn Keelan, a defensive end. And he pass rusher. He has connections to Tim Lester, who's a former QC guy for Green Bay. And it's really crazy to think about those kind of connections and how he was also on the Dane Burger list. He was like a top 20 defensive lineman, and he's a prime second round pick candidate. So, I mean, that's just something recent, right? But
yeah,
really seeing like just the way Green Bay is going about protecting the franchise. Sign me up, man. I'm not complaining one damn bit.
yeah. Jason here is saying that lots of offensive linemen that are a lot bigger than Green Bay usually looks at. And yeah, it was like the guy that I like from Yale, Amagaji, I think it is. Yeah, he's a
That's the
beast.
guy that I was confused with the BYU dude.
Yeah, I love him, and but the thing is, it's like there it's the measurables, right? Green Bay really likes to stay in those parameters.
Yeah.
Uh,
The broad jump and three cones, huge, huge. And
yeah,
shuttle time is huge for Green Bay and their thresholds when it comes. And weight, height, arm length, all that plays into it, right? But there's a lot of if the rumors are true about Green Bay training up to where they're saying that Seattle doesn't have a second round pick, and I think Kyle Fellows kind of posted this today, and before Chad Forbes had posted maybe like a week or two ago, talking about
yeah,
how we could trade up to Seattle's 16, 15th pick and grab somebody. With the way the draft is going right now, just based on mocks and things like that, you have so many quarterbacks, you have so many offensive linemen of other guys, as well as wide receivers coming off the board in the top 15 picks. You may be able to get someone worth a damn if you trade up. And we have 2 second-round picks. We trade away our second-round pick, one of our seconds, and our 25th pick up to get a 15. Hey, I don't care.
yeah.
I'm fine with it. Like, give me Tyrion Arnold, give me Quinton Mitchell, or hell, you see an offensive lineman, a tackle. What's the kid, Fuanga, who's supposed to be really good? Talisi Fuanga. He's supposed to be a beast. I don't know. Like I said, Andy, I don't care what we do as long as we're protecting the franchise. Jordan's gonna get paid. You might as well do everything you can to make sure you're keeping him upright.
Yeah, and that's I'm starting to feel that way more. I was really thinking we'd go get Cooper, and maybe I think that was just an infatuation with him.
Same. I'm fine with that too. If that happens, but I'm with you, bro.
Yeah, I'm starting to think, offensive line is something we might actually do.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? They can surprise us. I know another one of the visits is Kool-Aid McKinstry. He came in for a visit.
Yep.
So we definitely are taking a good look at the secondary. We had Akeem Dent, a safety from Florida State, visit.
Mm-hmm. Workout freak. Yeah. He meets all the thresholds for like a safety, but the problem is they said that when he was at Florida State, he got benched because he didn't know what the hell he was doing out there. So a little bit of I don't know. You bring him in, maybe to figure out what the hell happened there, right? But I'm with you, bro.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good talent. That's my thing. Part of me is just kind of end of the day, if we trade up, we trade back. I used to get so annoyed about it. I used to always get annoyed about some of the picks they would make. I'm not doing that anymore. I know the draft industrial complex really fucks us up and makes us think oh yeah, we reached on this guy or this or that or whatever. And then you come to find out nobody really knows. And there's guys that I think that fall out of Green Bay's normal thresholds, but it's okay. At the end of the day, it's if the Packers think that the dude can play, I'm down with it. But we know that minus Brian Blaga in the first round and Elton Jenkins in the second round, Packers have not done well drafting guys early in the offensive line. 4 through 7, money. You talk about all pros, you talk about all gamers, you talk about gold standard, right? But rounds 1 through 3, we've had a lot more fails than we've had a lot more misses than hits. You know what I'm saying? So, I said, if they see a guy they want to trade up to 15 to get, I think Joe Alt is
okay.
If he falls for some reason, I seriously doubt, but you never know. But things like that, right? Well, okay, fine. Cool, but it's gonna be kind of crazy to see how it just all plays out.
Yeah. What if one of the top wide receivers for some reason falls out of the top 10 and they're there?
How do you not?
But that's the the thing is some people are like you were saying, how can you not? At the same time, it's man, I feel like we have so much young talent, that's not even playing their best football yet at that position. So it's going to be really curious to see what they do.
Honestly, if we get a wide receiver in the first round, if you talk about a guy you talk about the top dogs. Okay, we're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. We're talking about Malik Neighbors. We're talking about Brian Thomas Jr. Those kind of guys. If they or Brock Bowers for that matter, they follow 25.
Well, I'm not saying like 25, but like
You're talking about trading
into
up
a
and then the
range,
15?
like say 15, right? Where you're thinking in that
Yeah.
trading spot. Like, what if
Mm.
one of them falls to 15? Like,
Honestly, I see if someone like the Buffalo Bills is willing to pay a ransom to move up to 15, then like I move up to 15 and see what I can get. And then Buffalo and Brian Thomas Jr. is there. Buffalo's like, hey man, we want this guy. Are you gonna give us your first this year, your first next year? Let's do it, right? And then
yeah,
boom, boom. Like I could see Greedy do it. He did that shit in 2018. I could see it again, right? And
yeah,
there was something that they showed on because the voluntary workout started today, right? And they showed the chemistry amongst the receivers. And holy crap, like a part of me is like, yeah, adding another wide receiver would be awesome. And a part of me is like, why
yeah,
ruin the chemistry? The chemistry is like just
yeah,
on point. Nobody wants to be the guy. Everybody wants to just do well. Everybody just wants to be a player. Like there's a question that the sleeper app put out today was about like who's Packers number one wide receiver. And I'm thinking like who gives a shit? It don't matter. Right?
yeah,
Like they can all be number one somewhere. Right now, we just
absolutely.
want to win. Like, just want to. Hey, man. Like, as long as they're happy, we're happy. Everyone's doing their thing. I'm down, man. I'm down.
Yeah, same here. So it's gonna get wild. Something you said earlier, was about like they like workout guys and they like guys that fit their mold. One of those guys that they're bringing in that I don't know a lot about, I'm curious about, is Marshawn Nealand
Yeah,
from
yeah. That's
Western Michigan. Not an impressive stat sheet. He
no.
did turn some heads at Senior Bowl practices. He sets the edge incredibly well. He's got a whole hum 40 time, but he's got those measurables: 6'3", 267 pounds, 34.5-inch arms. He's got a 20-yard shuttle, an impressive 20-yard shuttle time, and then a 30.5-inch vert, RAS of 9.08. So, like,
That's the guy I was
but it's
talking
like,
about. That's what I was talking about.
okay,
Who has the connections to? He played with Jaden Reed at West Michigan before he went to Michigan State. He
yeah,
has a connection to Tim Lester, who was a former head coach there, who became one of the QC guys for Green
okay,
Bay. A lot of
yeah,
those connections, right? And part of me is kind of like, man, like we need pass rushers. I think that's a sneaky need. I think
yeah,
with the JJ, Inubara kind of banged up, you're going to need guys to kind of come in. Preston Smith's on a 1-year deal, basically. Yeah, you need guys who are going to come in and put their hand in the dirt. And we're playing a 4-3. Who knows? Like, I think I was saying this previously in another pod where like you look at what Jacksonville did. I mean, they got Travon Walker, they just paid Josh Allen, they picked up Eric Armstead, right? And
yeah,
they decided to like just flood their defensive line with talent. And Green Bay is going to need to do that too because they're running a 4-3. You're going to need to be. It's kind of like what Philly did, right? Philly had just like their set starting line, and they had a line. Their backup line was just almost as good as their starting line. And it's like
yeah,
if you have fresh legs of guys that are like high caliber players coming in, on third down while that offense line is getting beat up all game, and then you guys, other guys come in, they're fresh and they're whooping your ass. That's what you need, like that's
yeah.
the kind of pressure that you need to create with just front four, right? So sign me up,
What do
man.
you? Yeah,
Sign
where do
me
you?
up.
Well, where would we be drafting him? Like
I
Nealand,
think it's second round. I think second
second
round.
round.
Yeah,
Okay.
second round for sure. Do you remember the guy that the Patriots drafted last year? He played at Georgia Tech. Oh God, what was his name? He was a guy that was getting like mocked to the Packers right before the draft. And
Wow.
oh, dude, what is his defensive tackle? Oh Lord, what is his name? Soder. Do you know what I'm talking about? Soder knows what I'm talking about. And Soder knows everything, man. But basically, like he was a guy where he was a second, third round talent who was thinking about getting snuck into the first round. And
yeah.
basically, I feel like this guy is the same way too. Like he could sneak into the end of the first round because a lot of like the Niners and everybody else have been doing a lot of work on him. And from what
Yeah.
Tony Pauline's been saying is like he's the kind of guy that could sneak into the bottom of the first round or near the top of the second round. So I mean, I just feel like some of these guys, like you just like as us being fans, we just want the best value for our picks, right? Obviously, the
Yeah.
front office does too. But sometimes, when they fall in love with someone, they're going to do whatever it takes to get them. But for us, because we look at this draft industrial complex, we look at all these people's big boards, we look at all these people's like rankings and shit like that. We're thinking,
Yeah.
man, I don't want to spend a first round pick on this guy. Like I keep seeing Peyton Wilson being like mocked to Packers, or like
Oh my gosh, I keep
or
seeing that
Enos
too.
Rakestraw, or like Nate Wiggins. And I love Wiggins and I love Rakestraw, but they're not first round picks for Green Bay.
Yeah.
And Peyton Wilson definitely isn't a first round pick. I mean, talent wise, maybe, but physically, no. Like too many injuries. He's slight of build at 6'3", 235. Like, no way, man. 6'4", 235. No, he's just no. Like he might be a beast, but let that be someone else's headache. Unless we get him later. Like we get him second, third round, sign me up. But
Yeah.
again, like it was just kind of like when we had Rashawn Gary and people were like, oh, Rashawn Gary is definitely not a he. Dude, what the? I'm gonna look it up right now. This is pissing me off right now. I'm sorry. And so like I just feel what I just think is like, end of the day, like as Packer fans, what we need to do is, hey, what's up, Todd? We need
Hey,
to
Todd, what's up?
Todd, my boy Tobby, be popping on Twitter. He go crazy. It's okay. That's my boy, man. He's a trip. If you don't know his humor, you gonna get fucked up. That's all I know. And I guess Christian Watson dad wasn't feeling it, but it is what it is. I know. Hey, look, I ain't say nothing bad yet. I've been pretty good about it, but what I think the craziest thing is that Cooper DeJean's a great example, and that's what Todd's talking about, right? Like I think I've been infatuated with this guy just because I just think he's a good kid, all these things, right? But if you read the scouting tape on him, there's a lot of negatives there, right? And how we were just saying, like, what if we trade up and get him? And that guy's been mocked to Green Bay almost every single mock draft I've seen for the most part. 90% of them have us to get Cooper DeJean, right? Keon White, thank you very much. I told you Soto would have figured it out, my boy.
Yeah.
So Keon White was the guy I was talking about. He was like a 3-tech
defensive
tackle out of Georgia Tech. He worked out like a fucking fiend, right?
Yeah.
But his tape was like, but people were like saying he could sneak into the first round. He then kind of fell to the Patriots because he had a little bit of like maybe some coaching issues and shit like that. But that's the kind of guy like who I feel like Marshawn Keelan, where you think it's second, third round, but if someone falls in love with the guy, they could sneak into the first round, right? But no, like so Cooper DeJean, like I think that's the Cooper D plus. The truth is, like when he played against marquee talent, his ass got lit up. Like when he played against Ohio State, he got ate up, man. I mean, and in those big games, guys like Tyrion Arnold, guys like Kool-Aid McKinstry, those are the ones that they show up in big games. They don't falter in big games. And I got what Todd was trying to say. It was like when you look at his stats are not indicative of him being a marquee player. Now, if he comes to the NFL, it's happened though, right? We've seen guys where they are okay in college or they get exposed in college and they come to the NFL and they're freaking lights out. And it's just all about like being in the right situation with the right coaching. And Cooper DeJean could be that guy, right? And if we don't play, he got smoked at corner. I don't think you put him at corner at all. Not even nickelback. I think you're probably playing like nickel safety. You're probably just playing them free or strong safety. But yeah, man, I'm sorry, I'm talking way too damn much. But
no, man, you're good. I'm eating it up.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where at the end of the day, some people have been like in my mentions, like, oh no, don't trade up, don't do this, don't do that, don't get this guy. And I'm just like, who gives a shit? Like they know better than us, right? Like, I mean,
I'm more and more favor each week. Like just like a couple weeks ago, I was like all about trading up and going for a few different guys.
Right.
But I like sitting back at 25 now. Personally, and maybe Graham Barton falls to us, or I like Jerzon Newton.
You love Jerzon Newton, bro. That is your boy, man. That's your draft crush. I feel like that is your number one draft crush because you mention him. I think every mock I see him, that man is number one every time. And I'm like, boy, if anyone got that draft day unopened the post-it, that's you. You're like Jerzon Newton, no matter what.
Absolutely, man.
He's a talent, man. The boy's good.
I think he's a guy that comes in and plays day one. So
Jason,
and I got to watch him chew up the Badgers offensive line a couple of games, last couple of years too. So if you can't beat him, join him.
I saw him eat up on Michigan too. So I'm with you, man. Like again, that's a guy that played on a team that wasn't great at Illinois, right? But he was able to still produce against marquee talent, right? And Jason
Absolutely.
here makes a good example where if we kept Joe Barry employed, then Cooper DeJean make perfect sense because he's more suited for his zone scheme, right? I feel like he's more suited in his zone scheme if he's playing corner. But if you play him at safety, I feel like you can kind of get around that. But I'm with you, bro. Like there's a lot of guys that I'm looking forward to seeing just like how this draft just falls. And like I'm with you. Like if we just stay at 25, I'm fine with that. Like I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much good talent. Like Graham Barton to me is a dream come true if that happens. Because you can play him anywhere on the offense line. But they're already talking about he may go as early as the Steelers. Because they're looking at him as a Marquise Ponte replacement for all years ago, where you know what I'm saying, like they've been trying to fill that with guys and it hasn't been working. Billy Price, God knows what, it hasn't been working. So, like that's the thing. Do we trade up to 15 to get him? Hey, you could, could. Part of me is fine.
I feel like, I think I'm better at thinking of like strategy rather than who actually to pick. Like if there's a guy that like you really want and he like might fall to 15, I say you reach out to 15 to see if you can possibly make that deal if that guy is there. And if if he's there, you jump up there and you grab that pick. Otherwise, if that guy is off the board, just sit and wait. Be patient. We got a lot of picks, man.
I think it was 11 picks. So 11 or 12 picks. So we have a lot of picks. And do I think they're going to make every single pick? I don't think they will, but if it happens, it happens, right? It's one of those things where, man, it is the 15th of April, and we are literally like 10 days out from the draft. 10 days out? Yeah, 10 days out from the draft, bro. I'm beside myself, man. I just can't wait, dog. I was like, and everybody that's here, just let you guys know that our plan is to try to do something for the draft. There's a lot of people doing live draft shows, so we might be going up against some big dogs in that kind of competition. But okay, get him, Iowa. Get his ass. Oh, I was gonna say Iowa Joe. You can't talk bad about none of them damn Iowa players. He won't come fight you. That action, but we go try to do something. We gotta try to do something because I would love for us just to give our input on every player that gets drafted for the first round at least. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. The more I learn about was it you guys can jump on the Ope network for night 2 if you want. We will be live streaming. All right.
Sounds good. Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Yeah. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more I hear about Cooper, I still like him, but I don't think it fits. The shoe doesn't fit. He's not a Cinderella. He's got his, we're looking for that cheese slipper, right? And he's not the guy. I think we went and got the safety we need in McKinney.
Yeah,
and I still like Cooper. If we draft him, I'll probably still be happy and hope it works out. But
I have more trust in Hafley in just literally one press conference and like 17 like college interviews than I had in like the 20 years experience of Joe Barry developing anybody. Right? Like, it was so sad that I was like willing to bring back Savage just so I could see it with Hafley and see if he could turn him around. Like that's the confidence I have in somebody that I have no idea what they're going to do as a DC because they've never really been a true DC on their own, right? And I'm with you, man. The Cooper DeJean thing, I think like because we've been dissecting him now for over like 4 months, where you know what I'm saying, like he's like was like the poster boy for so many things, and then it's he wasn't that great or he is that great. I just think now we're just overanalyzing him, right? And I think like with every prospect, you can find pros and cons. Even Marvin Harrison Jr., there's probably pros and cons there too, right? But does he fit your team? Does he fit your chemistry? Does he fit your culture, right? And there's Anthony Johnson Jr. out of Iowa State, who we still have that is there, who could possibly take the next step with the right coaching. So who knows? But
that's what I'm hoping for. I liked him coming out of Iowa State.
But what's funny? It comes down to it too. It's like at the end of the day, like shit. If you trade up for Cooper DeJean, right, that's fine. I'm down with that. But there's so many awesome like safeties that are coming out that you can get later, like Malik Mustafa, Jaden Hicks, like Javon Bullard. Who's the other kid? Siomi Vaki, Cole Bishop, even though Cole Bishop has like arms of like a toddler. I hope his parents aren't listening because then I might get the same treatment that Todd just did. Like, my man got short arms, bro. I'm just saying he got short arms. That's what I'm saying. But no, I'm just saying like there's so many safeties out there. Like, yeah, if we don't get the guy Cam Kitchens, Tyler Newman, like I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
end of the day, the talent is there. People are saying this wasn't a good safety class. I think it actually is. It's just not like a marquee safety class, but it's not
Yeah.
bad.
It's like deep, but there's like no one worth the first round, second round even. I feel like we could wait to the third round and to pick one of these safeties and
I agree.
and have the guy that's going to play.
That's what the cool thing is. We have so many picks. We have we have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, and who knows how many we'll require before the night's over, or before the weekend's over, right? But the funny thing is we have an opportunity to get some really good players. Like when we do our mock drafts, right? When we do our PFF simulator or whatever, like it's just crazy. Like when I'm looking at seeing like the number of players that are available when it comes to our mock drafts, like it's like damn, like I don't want to be in Goody's shoes because like you have your pick of the litter up until round 5, 6, and it's like shit, man. Like how do you obviously you have your draft boards, that's how you determine who you want, but man, like it is some really good players based on name and just everything we've been looking over the last 4 months. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait. Like what's gonna happen? They're gonna get players that we don't want. That's exactly what happens every year. They get somebody that I don't want, and I'm gonna be like fucking pissed. And then I'm gonna be like, 2 months later, 3 months later when they're starting, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, time to eat crow again. That's my life. Like, all right. Hey, it happens.
I know how that goes. Yeah.
I'll do it. I'm down. Sign me up. Give me a big ass bowl and a spoon. I'm down. Let's do it. What are you thinking?
Last year,
what are you thinking right now? For everything going
first
on
round,
right now?
everything going on. Well, I'm starting to feel Soder here thinks that we won't do a cornerback day one. Part of me feels like if Kool-Aid's on the board at 25, we take him.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
Yeah.
He's just.
I feel
he was running like a 4.4 on a broken fucking foot. Like, could you imagine how fast he would be with like his foot healed? Like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, he's been a freaking 5-star talent since he came out the womb, man. Like, he's no joke, bro. Like, I'm with you, man.
So I'm at a point where it's like cornerback, offensive line, defensive line. I could be happy with pretty much anyone there, unless they like reach for someone who could be there in the second or third round.
Yeah, that's what annoyed me.
That's what would annoy me too. It'd be like, what the heck, man? Like this guy's, But the crazy thing is, and then their second, third round picks would probably end up being guys that like just kind of like, oh, I can't believe they got them in the second or third round, or
exactly.
It seems like that's what happens. It's this kind of routine, with the Packers. Yeah, like, you're going to be pissed at who they take in the first round.
It's so funny too because I remember like last year I was like thinking like I don't want Luke Musgrave, and I just didn't want him just because of his injuries. I didn't want him because he didn't have much starting time. He got all banged up and this and that. And then who they take? Luke fucking Musgrave in the second round. And I'm like, block the fuck, right? But what happened when he was out there? Motherfucker was making me eat crow. He was killing it until he got banged up, but he didn't get banged up for the things he got banged up in college. Like he had knee shit in college. He didn't have any of that in the pros. He had more like stuff, lacerated kidney. I mean, what do you do with that, right? But like, and then Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed was another guy who I liked his Senior Bowl stuff, but I didn't feel like he met any of the Packers thresholds. They kept trading back, and they still got that dude. And he had a better year than my Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I'm telling you,
he shocked the shit out of me, man.
Me too. I liked Wicks too. I liked Wicks coming out, but I wasn't expecting that or Reed to do what they did. Like I was very impressed with both of them.
We should be happy that Wicks returned to college because I think he was like a day 3 prospect or something like that, and then he went back, but they had like a new offensive coordinator, a new quarterback or something, and all of a sudden he was like what, a 5th rounder suddenly, so he sort of says go up and
I'm
get
with you, man. Like the Wicks thing was crazy too. He was a 3rd round. He was like a 3rd round pick, they were saying, and then he came out and boom, he went a 5th round, and we definitely got a steal there. Now they're saying like we can get the other kid that's out of UVA, Malik Washington, who basically came in after Wicks left and was another beast who's doesn't meet the thresholds, but he's a thick dude. Like he reminds me a lot of Debo Samuel based on just the way he's built.
I
And
like that.
he's a hell of a football player. And again, he played in a system where it wasn't very beneficial to a wide receiver, but they had him doing everything. RPOs, he was out the backfield, he was out slot, he was out boundary. Like he just played every single position.
Dude, I want a guy like Debo, man. I love those Swiss Army guys, you know,
Yeah.
just do whatever with them.
Hell yeah, bro. So
Yeah.
I'm with Soder, man. You get Mitchell or Tyrion Arnold, I'm down with either one of those guys. They're both marquee talents. They're just awesome. The Mitchell, I love Mitchell. Like I've loved him before he even did his workout because I followed Dane Brugler and he was hyping him up, right? Just the fucking Toledo shit kills me. Because we took Kadar Holman out of Toledo. I get scarred by players. I just get scarred by helmets, and it's terrible. I shouldn't do that, but I don't know, man. He's not like a man press corner, if I'm correct. I think he's more like a zone guy based on what he played at Toledo. And I don't know, like, do you want to take that chance again, right? Like Tyrion Arnold, he played everything. Tyrion was everything. So look at True North. He right though. He right. It's probably gonna be offensive line.
I know that's Well, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like I feel like if you hang back at 25, I feel like there's a decent shot there that either Kool-Aid, Graham Barton, or Jerzon Newton. Those are my three, man. At 20, one of those three could end up at 25. That's why I'm saying just hang back and hope one of those three land there. I'd be happy with any of those three.
Hell, you do.
But there's,
sign me up, bro. Sign me up and protect the franchise. Yeah. I'm down.
But I think too, like that we'll do offensive line between, you're saying rounds 4 through 7. Iowa Joe says, I don't think there's a O-line in the first round that I think would be worth a first. Second round seems a lot better.
Maybe. I mean,
yeah.
I see what he's saying, but the truth of the matter is, like, if there's a guy that you really do love who can come in and be a day one starter, that's the guy you get in the first round, right? Like that's typically the thought process. Rounds 1 through 3, especially rounds 1 through 2, you're looking at potential day one starter. Round 3 and beyond, it's like, all right, back up, and then eventually special teams or whatever, right? But there's guys out there, man. It just matters who can go into whatever position they're being picked for and they can run with it. Like the Armarius Mims, man, he's a beast. I love him to death. I love J.C. Latham. There's a guy, the kid out of Arkansas. I keep talking about Bo Lemer. I love his ass.
Yeah.
I like the Taylor Boyatoli dude, but like for me, like we've talked about before, he needs to get some more weight in his ass. I mean, just the way it is. Just being honest, right? And like I don't know, man. It's crazy to think like we're going to be drafting possibly an offensive lineman in the first round, which we haven't done since Derek Shrub, and that was like what? 13 years ago, man. It was a long ass time, bro. And then after that, it was Jason Spriggs we traded up for. And that was a fucking debacle. So
yeah, it was.
Dude, man, one thing I'm scared about is we go for like someone like Byron Murphy, who doesn't meet the height threshold, but he meets everything else.
Yeah.
They're saying that like he's probably the closest prospect to Aaron Donald, which is a pretty big fucking deal. I know, that's what I'm saying. Spriggs was a second rounder. That's what I'm saying. Like they traded up in the second round to get him. Because they went ahead of Chicago to get his ass.
Yeah.
But no, like so for me, like you get someone like Brian Murphy. Does that have an impact now? Like we just saw the contracts that got paid out, right? Eric DeForest Buckner got paid, 2 years, $48 million, and and the truth is like. How much is that going to impact Kenny Clark, his contract and his extension, right? And then if we get a guy like Brian Murphy, does that impact them bringing back Clark, or are they going to let him play out his deal? It's one of those things where I just really don't know,
Bring Kenny back, man.
Same. Sign me up.
Bring him back.
I'm not about this. He hasn't even turned 29 yet.
Yeah.
Like he turned 29 and I'm like, dude. Like, what are
I feel like he's been here forever too,
Yes. He came in
bring him back.
He was like 9 years old and shit. Like, come on, dog. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah. But Iowa Joe has a good point here. Packers have only drafted 2 offensive linemen in the first round since 2000.
Yeah, Balaga and Sherrod. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I mean, and that's
Hey.
you hit one or two, and then people hate on Blog, and I'm thinking like, dude, like, yeah, he got banged up here and there, but he was still a solid right tackle. Like,
Yeah.
him as a rookie and got us to the Super Bowl. Like after Tauscher got towards ACL. Like, I mean, come on, man, what are we doing? You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tauscher was my boy back in the day.
Still is, man. I love his show. Him and Jason, man. I
Yeah.
love his show.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he my brother threw shot and disc against them in high school.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I remember going in to watch my brother at a meet, and my brother told me like, "Oh, you see him? He's gonna go to the University of Wisconsin to play football." And I was like, "That's so cool," you know. So it's like it goes way back. It's like they were in a little farming town of Auburndale, like 20 minutes from where I grew up. So, so everyone kind of knew about knew him, you know.
Nice.
Plus, when you're like a foot taller and like 50 pounds heavier than everyone else on your team in little Auburndale, you kind of stand out, man.
It's kind of hard to like not beat up on everybody.
Yeah.
That's what they say about. I bring it back up Cooper DeJean. That's what I talk about his basketball highlights, that he was just punking everybody because he was a better talent than him. I'm like, dude, your boy was like 6 foot tall dunking on folks, dog. Like, I'm sorry, like he's athletic, but let's not try to act like he was like 6'8" dunking on people like LeBron or some shit. Like, come on now, like he looked good, bro. Like, I'm not gonna hate on his.
I was impressed by those basketball highlights, man. I did not know that Cooper could hoop like that, man.
Seriously, I was like, all right, dude, all right, okay.
Yeah, Jim Leonard back in the day could throw down pretty good.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
all these guys are like, they all like multi-athlete, like they're all like multi-sport athletes, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, like both Jordan, Aaron Rodgers, Colin Kaepernick, Josh Allen, they all played. Kyle Murray, Russell Wilson, they all played baseball, they all played basketball. They all got their hands on different kinds of sports, right? And I think that's good. I think if you just do one sport, that could definitely screw you up from a balancing perspective, right? So, hey,
I wholeheartedly feel that.
It's
crazy though, because now there's people that play one sport like year round, trying to make their path that way, and it's just like some of my favorite Wisconsin Badgers all time. You always end up hearing stories like, "Oh, this point guard, he was the varsity quarterback, and he was the captain of his football team," and it's just like I think some of those like leadership, tough tenacity, like skill sets they transfer over from sports, and I like seeing those guys like the multi-sport athletes, man.
100%, man. I just better prepare you, right? That's all it is.
Yeah. So we also got workouts starting today, right? Speaking of athletes, right? We got workouts starting today. We got workout bonuses, man. Speaking of Kenny, he's got a $700,000 workout bonus. New signee Josh Jacobs, he's got one for $600,000. Jordan Love, I expect him to show up. He's like, I feel like he's the dude that's going to lead by example. He's got a $500,000 bonus. McKinney, another new signee, $400,000. Like, damn, man! Like, this is to work out.
Like, this is built for a workout. You can get paid almost $1 million. That's
sign me up, man. I'll come work out for some money.
Look, Jair turned it down last year. His ass didn't even come. And I was like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
Hopefully he shows up this year, because what I'm saying, like I saw 12 showing up at the Jets. I'm like, that must be fucking nice. All right, but I won't bring that up. I ain't trying to bring that shit up. But the truth is, like, Jordan's coming out there. He's a leader of this team, and him being out there is the right move. And honestly, like, he had a great second half of the season. Let him have an MVP or two, a Super Bowl ring, let him do some shit, then maybe I'll be okay with him skipping practices or like skipping voluntary workouts. Knowing him, though, I don't see him being that kind of guy. I just don't see him wanting to do things on his own. Like, he's all about the team camaraderie. He's all about working with these guys. He's friends with these dudes more than it's not just like a job for him. It's the development of cultivating relationships with his players. With that being said, like, I feel like guys that'll make the second year jump, I really do feel like it's the receivers. You're going to see, honestly, Jaden Reed and Wicks. I feel like Wicks is going to really unleash on the season this year. I think we're going to see third-year jumps from Watson and Dobbs. Dobbs reminds me. Go ahead.
I was going to say, man, I'm thinking Musgrave and Kraft, man, are tight ends, right? That's like the hardest transition. One of the hardest transitions from college to pros is that tight end position.
Yeah.
And we saw both of these guys show flashes last year in their rookie years. Kraft, wants to block people like he wants to kill them. And I just see Musgrave and Kraft, man, like, it's gonna, I hope it's gonna be like Gronkowski and Hernandez without the murder, Um, but
You know what? You might be right. Now with the way Kraft be talking, he talked about he wanted to feel the breath of his opponent leave his body and shit. I'm like, all right, dog, what? you going 50 Shades of Gray in this joint? It's like, all right, dude, relax.
So I think Reed and
I love the
Wicks,
mentality
think about that. We have 4 pass catchers, man, that could take a big step forward this year.
Yeah.
That is insane. Like,
and don't forget about Sims, man. Ben Sims is a rookie too, and
Yeah.
he's the third-year guy. He doesn't have DeGura in his way. Do I think the Packers will probably draft a tight end? Probably, but you're right though. Like the talent is there, and it'll be interesting to see like just the way, because LaFleur keeps talking about how he has to change up the offense, keep it fresh, keep these defenses guessing. So it'll be interesting to see what he does different with what weapons he has in front of him. Yeah,
Soder's going Grant Debuse.
Hey, look, he was something else at Charlotte, and if he didn't hurt his back, I think you would have seen him probably come out. The fact that he was hurt, we were able to see the Bo Melton breakout games, right? And yeah, I think that DeBose comes in and he's been working out really good in the offseason. If he takes this thing seriously and he can work on his back and his injuries, man, like he could really challenge for that 6th or 7th wide receiver spot.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go Carl Brooks on the defensive side. I love that guy, and I think he's going to get more snaps. He's going to be more disruptive.
Yeah.
Then another guy, I think it's going to take a second year jump, especially in this new defense. We already talked about him, and that's Anthony Johnson Jr. So those are guys like, this is crazy to think, how many guys that we have that I believe can make a jump in year 2. I'm excited about that, man.
NFL, right? Like you got the youngest team in the NFL. You got to expect them to, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And LaFleur said that. He goes, it's up to you guys if you want to be complacent or not.
Yeah.
And as much as it sucked for us losing a divisional round, I definitely do feel like it was the best thing that happened for them, because if they would have went to a Super Bowl in their first year, second year, right? Like, man, it might have fucked them up, because then they had, they may have started like kind of sitting on their laurels, right? They may not have like tried as hard, but now they're like, shit, we had a chance to beat the Niners and then go to the Super Bowl. Now they have like a carrot in front of them, right? And I think they call Brooks one. That's the thing that kind of is like, I'm wondering about like the defensive line, because we have so many talented players, but how do they all like fit? And like Soder's saying that Colby will fit better in this defense than with with Joe Barry. But man, like the number of like defensive linemen, size outside linebackers now are going to be defensive ends and whatnot, man. It's going to be interesting to see how Hafley really gets the best out of his players and puts them in the best position to succeed. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that works.
Yeah. Jason he's got high hopes for debuts as well. So man, it sounds, a lot of people high on debuts, and there's gonna be an odd man out, at the wide receiver position. So it's just like, how we were kind of hypothetically talking about jumping up if one of those guys fell in the draft, and it's just like, now as we sit here and we're examining the depth of this wide receiver room, to me, it's just like, it would be cool, but it's just like, is that really worth it? Like, what's going to help us best win the Super Bowl right now?
Exactly.
Because speaking of that, Love was on the Pivot podcast recently, and he pretty much just said Super Bowl is the goal, man, right? And he says there's confidence, from top to bottom on this roster, in the front office, on this coaching staff. So, you just love the fact that the whole team now, because of this playoff run, that's what they're thinking, man. Like that's the goal. I think every team probably comes in and says, let's try to go win a Super Bowl. But you got to imagine there were some people, I know there's fans, including myself, I didn't think that a Super Bowl appearance was within reach this year.
Right.
But after that Cowboys game, man, I definitely was just like, oh man, I'm like, we could go to the Super Bowl,
It was
and
a
the fact
combination
that
of
we
like,
hung with the Niners like we did,
yep.
you know, that was probably maybe the Niners loss that I've walked away holding my head up the highest, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people will point out some things at the end that they were really pissed about, but
Yeah.
it all comes down to with the youngest team, Super Bowls to go, and it's very realistic.
I think the craziest thing was to, like, he said it where he goes, we have a target on our back now. No one's going to be taking us lightly. They're going to know that we're a team that really hit our stride, and people are going to give us their best shot. And I think that's what we expected when we had Rodgers, right? Like, same thing, people always give us their best shot. And you're right. Like, I don't know if the expectation was there in the beginning of the season, but it sure hell was there in the back end of the season. And this is going to be a great opportunity to see how they take that adversity they felt, that nasty taste in their mouth at the end of the game, and where they take it from there. And do they take it to the next level, or do they take a step back, right? The guys on this team, to me, I don't feel like there's anybody on this team who's like, yeah, I'm good with where I am. I don't need to get better. Like, I don't really see that. And they're the player that I do kind of see that with, but I'm not going to mention. I'm not going to put that shit on either. But the truth is that, like, maybe that was just because the way things were before, and maybe things will be different now, right? With new coaching. So, but the fact that, like, someone shared it, like, Relax shared it on Twitter when he was like, who had a dopamine rush when Savage took that pick six back for a touchdown? And I was like, dang, I still think about, literally, I was like, I had an out of body experience when that occurred. Right? It was like Nick Collins taking back the pick for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. It was like that same experience. And I really do feel like this team they're able to do what they did with what they had, which is the youngest players, and with, like, literally talent that was still developing. You got a year in a belt for all of them, and we're gonna bring in new guys. Boy. And then if Jacobs can stay healthy, which, don't get me wrong, I love Aaron Jones, but yeah, you didn't know from week in to week out what you're gonna get him, right? And they even said that I don't know if this has been put out in the in common knowledge, but in the end of the game, Aaron Jones was banged up. Like, that long run that he had actually hurt his hamstring again. And they said that even if they would have won that game, they don't know if they would have had him the next week. So you go back now and think about that. Like, your offense really took off when he came back. Like, when he came back, you really did see the offense really hit another stride. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. They were killing it against Detroit. They killed it against Kansas City, right? And that was with AJ Dillon. But man, like, when he was in there, the team was completely different. And if you don't know from week in to week out if he's going to be able to play, you got to make a move that you get a player in there who may not be as good as him, but who's pretty good, who has shown that he's a pretty good player. And he doesn't really miss games. I mean, Josh Jacobs has had probably every single injury known to mankind. He still shoots up every week. The only time he didn't was when he tore his quad, and he still tried to suit up. So, like, I don't know. It's just having the right guys in the right positions that, your best ability is availability. And I'm just really, I'm excited as shit, man. I hope to God World War III doesn't pop off with all this stupid shit going on over there. I want to see what this team do, baby. I mean, like, it's a wild shit going on. I just want to see.
Hey, we're gonna get to see what they're what they get to do, what they can do in week 1. Because we're going to Brazil, boys.
Oh man.
What do you? So let's talk. Like, this can be our final talk segment or topic tonight, man. We're going to Brazil, man. Like, I'm stoked, but it's wild, man. So it's, like, from what I understand, what I heard, right, Friday, they're playing the game on a Friday.
Thursday. It'll be
Thursday.
No, you're right. You might be right because normally the first game of the season is the Super Bowl champ against whoever, right? So it should be Kansas City, and then I don't know who they playing, but it's either Friday. I kept thinking it was Thursday, but you could be right though. It could be Friday, man.
I got to look now, but we're playing the Eagles. Like what a fantastic! Yeah, Friday, September 6th.
Yeah.
And so playing the Eagles, man, right? So you got two like premier teams of the NFL going down to Brazil, which just cracks me up because like you're like, oh, are you gonna wake up for the early game in Europe? It's the Bears and the Jaguars, and it's like, no, who gives a shit about the London game?
My sicko ass was up though. I was like, oh, who do I got?
Well, I usually am. I'm on the West Coast, man, so it's like it's not as early, for me as it is for you. So
That's true. Yeah.
You're probably waking up like at 5 a.m. or some shit to watch that, and it's like 8 a.m. I'm like steeping my tea and making my toast.
There you go.
With the game on, so it's nice. But this game's rad, man. It's a Friday night game. What do you?
I don't know, man.
I hear there's a big Packer following in Brazil. So this is technically an Eagles home game.
Yep.
But it could have like a Packer home feeling to it.
So basically on like, I guess some kind of consensus or like stats that they did, that the Packers are the number one team in Brazil. Like the number of fans, there are Packer fans in Brazil is the most out of all 32 teams. So I can see why that probably played into why they had them going against Philly, right? The thing that sucks is like it was in Philly, and Philly is like a 3-hour drive from me. So I was planning on going to the game in Philly with my Philly boys to watch the game. Now I'm like, shit, I'm going to go meet them somewhere halfway and watch the game and just talk shit, right? But part of me is hype. I'm really happy for the people of Brazil. I think that, the Packers are trying their best to try to like expand, like their reach when it comes to the NFL, which is cool. And then we have a lot of guys like Wendell and some other folks that are in Brazil that are, they're going to have the chance to experience an NFL game, live, which is pretty cool. Part of me sucks though. It's just I know how much of a poo-poo LaFleur was when it came to us going to London. Like he was not happy. He was very annoyed. He made sure that that perpetuated through the whole team with his annoyance of having to move. And other players like, hey man, let's embrace this experience. Let's go there early. Let's take it all in. And LaFleur's like, fuck that. No, I want to go the last moment in time that we go there and then do this and that or whatever. And I'm like, dude, bro,
it's so weird, man.
Yeah, you gotta embrace it. Like you can't be such a Scrooge about it. Like I get it. Like you're gonna have to do things that are uncomfortable. Like just deal with it.
Yeah, I just want to ask the people of Brazil one thing though, is like I hope we don't have to listen to vuvuzelas the whole time we're watching the game. You know what a vuvuzela is, right? Yeah. The World Cup, when the World Cup was in Brazil, it was like,
you heard
the whole time. I was like, oh God, dude. I was like, I had to mute the game sometimes.
I just kept drinking. And I was like, it sounds cool at that
point. But no, I mean, I shouldn't say that because that's probably part of their culture, their sports culture, man. So if they want to blow their vuvuzelas during the game, go ahead.
Let them, man.
Let them celebrate, man.
They're gonna find a way to say "Go Pack, go" and that shit. What? They're gonna find a way, boy.
I hope this is how we ended up in this game, though. Is like Goodell came to Green Bay and was like, "Hey, we took a poll. You're the favorite team in Brazil. Let's get you down to Brazil for a game." And I hope they were just like, "Yeah, we'll go there as the away team. That's cool." So, Roger, you want us to go where you are the away team, like, because it was a we gave up a home game this last year, right? To the or 2 years ago for the London game.
2 years ago, London game, I think it was. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah. And I mean that's another thing. We have a huge standing of folks in London too. So it's like it's not like it's Packers, they travel well. They're an international team, but just and then on top it's in Peacock. So if you don't got Peacock, you're not even gonna see the freaking game. So that's another damn thing too. It's
like $6 for the month for Peacock. So it's like
it's a principle.
How much? Yeah. No, I get the principle, but it's just like how much do you spend on one ticket for one game when you go to Lambeau Field? Like, I get it's a whole experience and everything like that, but like I'm willing to spend the $6 on the freaking thing, right?
Yes.
I've spent $50 to $75 on a boxing pay-per-view.
Yep.
So I have no issue throwing down $6 for a month of Peacock and watching a football game.
Yeah, especially if it's our boys, man. If it's our boys playing, I'm down with that. I'm like, for me, I'm just trying to see if I can get my fellas together and try to find something else to do and like watch the game together. That's like what I want to do, right? But like, I'm with you, man. Like, yeah, it sucks. I'm not a big fan of it, but Peacock paid for it. They get this opportunity, and you're not dropping like a full cable package bill for it. You're dropping like $5 to $10. Like, it's like beers, man, or any other items that you use to get lit.
Yeah. Something I heard about recently, though, it was an article, and it was talking about 3 of these big media companies coming together, and there's discussions on board now of creating like the perfect sports streaming service. I wouldn't be surprised though if it ends up being like $50 a month or something like that. But like you're talking like it's going to be a streaming service that has every single football game. It's going to have every single basketball game. Like you're not going to have to fuck around looking for every game, having multiple streaming services. So I'm excited to see how these talks go. But it said like you're probably still a couple years away from that perfect sports streaming service. I hope it exists within my lifetime, man. Because I hate having to chase games down. Or I know a few sites where I can like
me too.
Pull up a stream of it, but it's not always
those, man. They look at the commercials and the blocks and the shit like freezes, and then it's just a terrible viewing experience, right?
Or it's like the clarity, it's like the resolution of like the
it's not HD
tube TV. You're just like, oh my god, like
so
looks
grainy.
Like I'm watching this game from 1986.
Yes,
like,
it's terrible.
Yeah, but you just got to do what you got to do sometimes.
That's it, man. That's it.
It does. That's like the thing that makes me miss sometimes living in Wisconsin is just being like, I don't have to sweat it, man. The game's gonna be on.
Exactly.
But hey, I want to respect everyone's time. So bust out your vuvuzelas. Get them ready for week 1. I'm stoked, man. We're less than 2 weeks away from the draft, and we'll be on here talking about it round 1. Maybe night 2. I'll have to drop in and on Iowa Joe and see where his boy Cooper ended up. But hey, I'm Bernie Bango. Thanks for stopping in, everybody.
Hey guys, and just let you guys know one real quick thing before we dip. We were supposed to have Brennan Rupp today, but he had a prior engagement that kind of kick up. So plan is to get him on for next week's show, and then we're trying to get some other guests for after the draft. So next week's show we'll have Brennan talk about his guys that he was thinking are going to be the next Packers to come play for us, and then the following week will be obviously post-draft, and the plan is to basically try to see if we can get another guest on who will talk about the draft. It might be Brandon again. It might be somebody else. Just keep that eye out. We'll make sure we get the post out, and the plan is to try to get these episodes that we had now and previously on Apple and Spotify. So for viewing things, if you guys want to go back and listen or whatever, just trying to make sure we get available to all the different streaming platforms out there so you'd be able to enjoy listening to mine and Bernie's elegant voices.
Right on. Thanks, Summer. Well, we'll be back next week, same time, with our guest, breaking down the draft even more. Thanks again. This has been Coast to Coast Packers on Game On Wisconsin.
Go Pack.